No. Why should I? And here we go again, Aussie punters. Look at this. Australian taxpayers on the hook to pay Chevron more than $500 million to clean up their own mess. Oh, but punters. Oh, it gets worse. It gets way worse. I made an Instagram reel about it. Take a watch. If you've seen this Instagram reel, skip it. Chat after.
Oi, mate, we're all done here. Oh, great. How much did you make?
Oh, mate, billions.
Well done. Are you here to pay us for all the oil and gas you took to make all that?
Yeah, not quite.
Oh, so are you here to...
So are they here to pay us? I'll just quickly jump in here. Are they here to pay us all that money? As you know, I rant about this almost every single video because this is the biggest scare. All the budget problems would be solved if our government wasn't literally selling out your wealth. We should be rich. You should be rich. This is why we're not. So just a friendly reminder that this is probably the only issue you should probably care about and vote about. Zero royalties charged on $111 billion of gas in WA. 73 per gas have exported in WA. Zero royalties.
Pay your taxes. What's it been like? 6 years without a cent in tax? Oh, well, that's not true. Says here we paid 30 on over $9
in taxes over the last 6 years. Can you believe it? We'll go through their taxes more in a minute.
Billion in revenue. Exactly. Why are you here?
Yeah, we made a bit of a mess.
Oh, no.
Yeah, a bit of a gas leak.
How much gas leaked?
Don't know.
Well, where did it end up?
Oh, the groundwater.
Ah, we drink that and use it to grow food.
Oh, but don't worry, we'll clean it up.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah. So can we have 500 million?
From me. You want Aussie punters to pay to clean up your own mess after you make billions and pay bugger all in taxes?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, you promised. Well, it just might look like...
You promised. That's the deal made in the 80s because there was a deal that the Commonwealth and the state government would pay whatever for the cleanup. So, yeah. But you promised.
You're taking advantage of us and that we don't get anything in return out of this.
Remember that time we donated to your political party?
Yeah, $45,000.
Yeah.
You think that just because you donated 0.00001% of your corporate profits to my political party to help me maintain power, that I would just uphold a clearly rigged rule written to benefit you and your foreign shareholders over the everyday Aussie punter who elected me to represent them?
You have no idea how many takes that took for me to memorize that line. Anyway, let's continue.
Yeah, that
is how it works here in Australia, isn't it?
Yes, that is in fact exactly how it works. Here's your taxpayer money.
Yes, punters, it is exactly how it works. This video is brought to you by me, Punters Politics. You can go to punterspolitics.com and pick yourself up a sticker or some merch. Guys, I'm crowdfunded. That is how I do what I do. Could not do it without you punts. Cheers, punts. Anyway, back to it. But to this story here, the Australian government faces having to pay $500 million to clean up, to help repair offshore nature reserve. How good is that? You can't start a campfire in a nature reserve. Hell, a lot of four-wheel drive punters out there can't drive their four-wheel drives in some nature parks and nature reserves. Try fishing in one of them? Nah, that's illegal. But try drilling 900 wells in 6 decades, 60 years. Whoa, in 60 years. Chevron says it's paid more than $1 billion in royalties. Oh, okay, that's not much. Remember, Qatar made $76 billion in 1 year from its gas. So yeah, $1 billion in 60 years, not great. And remember, they're about to get half of it back. So really, at the end of this, they will have only paid $500 million in royalties, which once again is not a tax. It's a payment of what they owe us for taking our things. I own the gas, you own the gas, it's ours. They can buy it off us if they want to use it to make more money. So the question for us becomes, do we want to give it to them, do all that damage to our nature reserves for $500 million over 60 years? Yeah, math's not mathin'. Let's look at Chevron paying taxes. Now, thanks to support him if you can, Michael West, independent journalist. You notice not many other news outlets, no corporate media is reporting this stuff. But for the last 10 years or more, actually even more, Michael West has been tracking Chevron and describing Chevron as one of Australia's most prolific tax dodgers. Dodge doesn't cut a word. Chevron are tax bludgers. They are absolute leeches, siphoning your wealth, literally stealing your wealth. You don't pay what you're owed for something. That's called theft. This is corporate theft at its finest. If they were a poor punt down the shop nicking a bag of chips, they'd be in jail. But since they're rich punts with lawyers living offshore, they get away with stealing hundreds of billions, potentially even trillions. Just speculation on the numbers there, but the numbers don't look good. So as I track back all these articles from Michael West, the ATO took Chevron to federal court for essentially transfer pricing, which is, simply put, Chevron borrowed $2.5 billion from its US shell company at less than 2% interest and then paid themselves back at 9% interest. That's how they siphon your tax dollars offshore. That's how they do it. This one goes all the way back to 2015, where Chevron didn't just steal your taxpayer money. It had a tax avoidance scheme so aggressive that it goes beyond merely reducing income tax, but rather has designed it to make a profit from the Australian Tax Office. Who funds the Australian Tax Office? You do, and I do. By exploiting loopholes to claim relief on artificially created interest payments. It's really easy for bad faith politicians to just go, oh, let's cut funds to the ATO and things like that. And we don't like because the ATO come after us. But the ATO only come after us when they don't have the resources to go after the real criminals in our society, the ones that are stealing billions, not just claiming a sneaky coffee here and there on the business. Wait, are you subbed to the channel? Yeah, it actually really helps the channel grow if you sub and then maybe share it with somebody else. Anyway, back to it. So in 2022, they got over $9 billion in revenue, $30 in tax. That's just an insult. Look at all these other absolute bludgers. Glencore, BP, Woodside, AGL, Santos, obviously, Yancoal, Inpex, Anglo, all these people, 0, 0, 0, 0. Oh, but it's just 1 year. Maybe they had to offset your stuff. You know, they invest so much, like they're not going to turn a profit for a while. Here's 2020, 0 in 2020, so that was the year before. Here's a 4-year total income. So we've spanned 4 years with $10 billion in total income with 0 taxes paid. And in 2023, decades after decades of operating and paying 0 in taxes, Chevron boosted its revenue from $8 billion to $16 billion. And after dodging taxes for decades, Chevron has finally begun to pay some income tax after funneling $7.3 billion in dividends to offshore parent companies. So if you ever try and look up numbers, Chevron will always do dodgy accounting and it will report itself being like, hey, Chevron pays Australians billions, right? But here's the obvious thing. Paid $5.9 billion in taxes and royalties. So once again, if you ever see them do taxes and royalties, you can just bugger off with your inclusion of royalties. I don't care about the royalties when I'm talking about your taxes. They conflate these numbers. This is what we're owed for our resources. This is what you're owed for doing business in Australia using our lawyers, infrastructure, courts, police to protect your assets. You use our society to make money, so you better well bloody pay for it. And sometimes in some dodgy accounting, they'll include taxes not paid to the Australian government. Do you think I care how many taxes you pay to some other government? No, I do not. So Chevron is not a trustworthy source of information here. But I say all this to really drill home that for 6 decades, this foreign-owned absolute leech bludger corporation has operated, has drilled, has exported, has sold, and made billions of dollars, not paid royalties, not paid taxes. And as we discover with this particular gas plant, Barrow Island's gas leak, leaking gas into groundwater. That's right, the stuff we drink and the stuff we use for farming and the stuff we use for irrigation. A collective commodity that we need to protect, that we need to own, that, I don't know, sustains life here on Earth. They do a lot of damage and a lot of harm. And the question becomes, hey, are you and I getting rich from this damage? Is like, yeah, we're gonna bear the burden of this environmental damage in the future. Your kids are, most likely. But did we make a lot of money from it, and did we invest in the future? And did Australia get a net gain from this business transaction? And the thing I keep pointing out is that the answer is always no. We're not a net gain. Look at this. Following revelations by independent outlet, that's the only way you find things now, Boiling Cold, the company conceded that at the time it detected an unknown amount of gas leaking into the island's groundwater. Hey, how much gas? I don't know. We don't know how much gas. Oh, well, geez. Well, we must have to pay to clean it up. And that leads us all the way back to the top here, where Aussie taxpayers are once again footing the bill, 500 million cleanup oil wells that they made this mistake. They're spilling into groundwater. They made the profits. They shifted them offshore. They didn't pay us properly for the resources. And we are still left on the hook here. No. Why should I cover the cost of you doing business? If you want to take that oil and gas and sell it to your bludger mates overseas for billions in profit, you should do the maths on how much it costs you to return the environment that you destroyed to some semblance of what it was before. And if you do the maths and it doesn't add up, I'm not going to cover the cost for you because you couldn't make it work. Because if we need oil and gas for our own production, we can get it. As regular Aussie punters, they try and make us think that we can't do it ourselves. We bloody well can. So I think the solution to this is pretty bloody simple. A company like Chevron, with a clear track record, literal tax fraud being taken to court by the ATO, and tax minimization and tax dodging and tax bludging, decades of this experience. How about the Australian government just look them in the eyes and say, piss off? When zero is the number that you keep paying in tax, the Australian government needs to just look at them and say, you know what? You can just leave. You can just get out of here and someone else can come in and do it. And that shouldn't be that hard. But unfortunately, thanks to political donations, that's actually very, very difficult. Because as we discovered here, what year is this? In 2023, we're always a year behind in data. Oh, here we go, 2021 and 2022. Chevron donated $45,000 to the Labor Party, $43,000 to the Liberal Party. Obviously, they're not in power, but they might be. And $4,000 to the Nationals. Now, there's no bigger cheerleader for these bludgers than the Nationals. So I'm just going to say this. You're cheap, Nationals. You're literally cheap. I will give you $5,000 tomorrow to attack Chevron. You want to do that? I'll do it. I'll do it my own money. I'll give you $5,000 of my own money, Nationals. Give me a call. All you need to say is Chevron piss off. Pretty simple. You get the $5,000. You guys seem pretty cheap. Don't know why you wouldn't take me up on that offer. But essentially what we see here is, why does Australia let these corporations, which on balance, are not beneficial to Australia's society? They're clearly not, but they keep being allowed to operate because these small, tiny payments from all these resource companies are APPEA. This is a lobby group. I've got some stories about a lobbyist in Parliament House. I tried to talk to a gas lobbyist, but he wouldn't talk to me in Parliament House. Stay tuned for that. This is my new favorite website. And there we can see total donations that they've given is $500,000 to Labor, slightly less to Liberal. Now that is actually very surprising. And this is why, to the Labor rusties that say, everyone says they're the same, they're not the same. This is what everyone's looking at when punters say the two majors are the same. Because when it comes to stuff like this, they are both on the take, and Labor are worse than the Liberal Party with taking this money. And they still allow these people to operate when they are literally stealing from you. Neither are standing up for your best interest against these foreign-owned multinational corporations. So, long story short, that is why you and I are on the hook to give our tax dollars. You paid tax and I paid tax. We're going to give it to this tax bludgeon corporation to clean up their own mess. The Australian scam continues. Anyway, massive thanks to We the Punters over on Patreon. These are the punters that keep me making these videos that I think are important, and not just ones that get the clicks. Feel free to share this with another punter that might not know just how scammed we're getting, because the more we know about these scams, come next election time, we might just vote in a way that actually makes a change. And I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers, punts.